Hi everyone. Thank you for being here again for our podcast within the project Refashion for Good. This amazing project, it's an Erasmus Plus under the umbrella of Cooperation Partnership in School Education. I'm Sara, and I'm very pleased to be here today with our amazing guest, Silvia. I'm not going to tell anything about her because I strongly believe she will introduce herself beautifully later on. So let me just tell you a little bit about the project Refashion for Good. Refashion for Good, it's all about sustainability in fashion. It's all about the 4Rs philosophy. So we have reduce, reuse, recycle, and rethink. Of course, in the fashion world. We try, from our perspective, as partners in this project, to target specific tools and skills for youth and organizations to increase their employment and the long-term positive social and environmental impact everyone actually has today when it comes to fashion and sustainability. So I really would like to introduce now our amazing guest. So stay tuned because Silvia will start telling us her story. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for the invitation, Sara. It's very interesting, your project, Refashion for Good. Congratulations for this. I'm Silvia Gambi, and I'm a journalist and independent researcher, but also I'm a teacher specialized in sustainable fashion. And I live in Prato. Prato is the biggest textile district in Europe, and I think that this is the reason why I'm working on sustainable fashion and also the reason of my love for this sector. In Prato, we have about 6,000 companies specialized in textile from the textile sector, from the fiber transformation to the end clothes. So we have all the supply chain here on this district, and I think that it's very important to have a productive approach to the fashion for understanding well what are the main points that we need to work on. So in my past, I worked for about 17 years in the public sector, and then began my second life. I created a platform that is called Solo Moda Sostenibile, is all in Italian, unfortunately. And in my platform, you can find an online magazine, and a podcast, and a weekly newsletter. My audience is composed mainly from industry, from people that work inside the brand, for stakeholders that are involved in this sector, and from companies. The idea of this type of work was born about 5 years ago, because for the textile sector, we are living very challenging moments. We have many things to do for transform our industry from traditional to sustainable. And I think that it's very important to involve the companies in this type of process, in this part, but the companies need to have also more information, more details, and about the things that they have to do and the strategy they have to do, because sustainability is not only something that you have to do if you want to stay on the market, but is also an opportunity to give your contribute for a better planet. Prato is a special place where to do this because we are specialized in recycling of animal fibers from about 150 years. I wrote the documentary Stracci that is available on Prime Video if you are interested to watch it. And this documentary is dedicated to the work that we do here in Prato, but also to the problem of used clothes all over the world, because we in Prato, in the district, we can do something of magic from so many years. So we can transform animal fibers in regenerated fibers that can be reused in the fashion sector. I think that is the most important example of circularity that we have in the world, because we can transform a used clothes to a new fiber for the fashion sector. We have so many examples of recycling, but in many cases we have a downcycling process. So we keep an old clothes and we transform it in fiber that can be used for several use, but always in other sector different from fashion, and so this fiber also lost their value. In the case of wool and cashmere and with the technical that we use in Prato, we can have not the same value. It's of the fiber. Virgin fiber is more precious, obviously, but we can have a fiber that can be used for creating new clothes, new sweaters, also for the luxury sector. So I think that it's very important this. And so I worked in the past on the public side on this sector, on the recycling sector. And so when I started my freelance activity, I started from this point, and I tried to approach to this team, give to my audience many informations about good practices, new legislation, and also what is happening in the rest of the world, because fashion sector is very connected, and in many cases a legislation or a things or a political event that happen in another part of the world have a direct impact also in the textile sector in Europe. And in Prato we can see, we have so many examples of this, and when we have a political problem, for example, in a place where we have the supply chain, or where we source some materials, immediately we have some problem also in the industry. So I think that fashion is really a global sector, a global industry, and I think that we need to find a solution for the transformation all together, and we need to find a solution that we can apply to the world sector.
Perfect. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Silvia, for giving us this very detailed and I would say very straight to the point picture. Let me ask you a couple of questions now regarding your personal starting point. So you have been focusing on the present, right? What you do right now, and that's extremely important, how you started a little bit in the past and at the beginning of your path. But let me ask you, who helped you actually at the beginning who helped you starting this this career, this path in the sustainable fashion from your perspective?
I think that all the companies that are here in Prato was very helpful for me, because I need to analyze many aspects of the production process, and I always find in the entrepreneurs very open-minded. They are very open-minded, and they spend their time with me, and so I could see the process and the problem that they had, for example, with the new rules, and the challenge that they have with the sustainability aspect. So it's very important for me to stay connected with the everyday life inside the companies. It's very important for me also to select the topics that I want to treat in my magazines and my platform. And I think that this is a very important point, because when we talk about reuse, recycle, and sustainable processes, for changing something that we are doing, we need to know very well the process. So I can transform a process if I know it. And so I think that when you are in a district where the production is made every day from the companies, you can have more opportunity to understand what are the central point of the new transformation of the transformation.
Perfetto, cool, very, very nice. If I ask you, what did you start with? I mean, or if you have someone in mind who helped you at the beginning of your process, what is important for us just to help our audience to understand how potentially, start themselves working, being interested, in the sustainability world. So that's why we would like to know, at the beginning of your process, the beginning of your career, you have mentioned the companies. Do you have anyone else maybe on the personal level who helped you to just start your career?
I think that my career began with a passion. When I started to produce my podcast, I started because I love podcasts, although also related to other arguments. I love the instruments, and so I decided to start this activity. But maybe I don't think that at the beginning that this could become my activity, my principal activity. I started for the passion, because I want to share some. I want to share what was the opportunity of the sustainability, and so I started to study. I started to speak with many people, with a chat with many people, different people, and maybe 5 years ago was the right time to begin to work in this sector, because I always found many people that want to share with me their point of view, and it's very important for me. And I don't have a mentor. I don't have because you have to take into consideration that I don't live in a big city where when I can find communication agencies or specialized magazines and so on. I live in Prato, in a little city. And so at the beginning of my work, maybe this could be a problem for the growth of my project. But at the end, I think that is a very strong point of my activity. So I don't have one person. I have a community that is with me, and I think that sustainable in the sustainable fashion we have a very big community of people that is interested to improve their daily work, and this community is based in all over in the world, in many other countries also, but all the people that I met are animated from a really passion for these topics, and I think that this is the key.
Thank you, Silvia. So we have been through your present, right, and your present situation and the past. But if we look at the future, which is something that is very related, to our audience, because we're speaking to young people. So the future, right? That's quite a big responsibility sometime on their shoulders. So if you look at your future plans, what would you like to share with us?
Yeah, in last month I opened a space, an hub, where I'm collecting the many sustainable materials that come from the district, but also from other zones. And this physical space is very important for me because there are so many people, so many young designers, so many young brands that are interested to come to Prato to see how the production of the styles works, and what does it mean recycle and so on. And for me it's very important give them space for coming here to stay 1, 2, 3 days, and a place where they can work and they can meet each other, they can consult my library, my material library, and so on. And on the other hand, I am also starting to work in the communication sector for some companies. I find also a slogan, informed communication. I think that now it's very important to make a communication of sustainability that is based on the information. So it's very important the words that you use, the data that you have, your objectives, the measurement that you do of your sustainability plan, and so on. And I'm starting to work about this with the team. I hope that my project will grow. And for me, it's very important now to share not only my experience, but only the networking that I create in these 5 years of work with other persons that want to collaborate with me.
Lovely. Thank you, Silvia. Really, it was very, very inspiring. And I love the fact, but we will go back to that in the end, before the wrap up today. I love the fact that you have been, mentioning quite a few times connection, collaboration, these very important words when it comes to, well, they should be very important in any field. But I guess in the sustainability field, when it comes to fashion, they're extremely important. So now we are almost, at the end of this episode. But before wrapping up, Silvia, would like to know from you some very easy, there could be 2 examples of activities that young people can do on their own life from now. So if you have in mind something super easy, something that you would like to share with our audience in terms of activities, in terms of tasks, in terms of anything that can be actually a kind of anchor for them to start with when it comes to sustainable fashion? Thank you.
I think that the most important thing is to be curious. So it's very hard now for them, for young people, to approach to this sector, because we have many different messages that are something like greenwashing, and so it's very hard to approach to this. To the theme, to the topic of sustainable fashion. I think that it's very important to choose very well the clothes that we buy, but also the company that we want to go to work with. It's important now to discover the value, and the value, not the profit, but the really value, the purpose of the activities, and what the companies want to do, what is the message that the companies want to give. And it's important for young people that want to start to work in this sector, to do also this type of evaluation. And my suggestion is also that it's not so important to work in the design sector. I think that the design sector is very interesting in the textile sector, in the fashion sector. Okay, we need to have creativity, we need to have sustainable creativity, but we need also to have many good technicians, people that know very well the process, the development on the products, that can choose the right materials, that can do the right evaluation about the supply chain, about the CSR, about many different topics. So I think that everyone can take part to this transformation of the sector according with the talent that everyone had. And it's not so important to stay in the in the design sector, but we also can give a very big contribute working in the technical aspect. And I suggest to take into consideration this to the young people. And also a little suggestion, like consumer, please rethink the thing that you buy, the clothes that you buy. Maybe you don't need to have so many clothes, so it's important reduce the number of things that we buy, but at the same time add value to the things that we have and the things that we are buying. So it's very important to change our mindset and to give a concrete contribute to this with every single action is important, I think, in this moment.
Thank you again, Silvia. It's been great and a big pleasure for me, and I'm sure for the audience as well, listening to your story, listening to your advices, and listening to you in terms of someone who does concretely sustainable fashion as an expert every day from different perspectives. We really wanted you in this podcast because you gave us actually quite big, quite broad, range of experiences and tasks as well. So thank you again for that. So before wrapping up and say hello to everybody, let me just summarize quickly what we've been through today during this episode with our Silvia. So we have actually, Silvia had highlighted the importance of details, being very focused on the strategies, on the details, being very focused on the processes, right? You have mentioned quite a few times, and this is amazing, acknowledging the process, acknowledging the process from different perspectives, and the fact that we should collaborate. So it's not just, let me say, designing perspective and focusing on the responsibility designers have right now, but it's also collaborating with different kind of experts like you are, we are actually in Refashion For Good project, and giving to the audience, giving to the people, giving to the consumers different actually perspectives and different knowledges. So thank you for highlighting that. You have mentioned curiosity. I love that. Yes, people try to be curious. Nowadays, being curious is not very a thing. We tend to find, the easiest way to get, to reach the goal. It's also because all the technical stuff. But we should actually be curious, because otherwise we get into the trap of greenwashing, for instance, as Silvia beautifully mentioned earlier. So if you know the process, if you are curious and you want actually to know better, as she said, as Silvia said, passion, which is extremely linked to be a curious person, a curious consumer. So I like the way to say from passion to profession. This has been my actually personal experience as well. Starting from a very passionate person and consumer in the sustainability in the fashion field, and then I realized that I wanted more. As Silvia said, and I turn, from passion to profession. So this is extremely important as well. Last but not least, Silvia mentioned the importance of being connected, among different countries, among different areas of the world. So what happens here does have an extremely important connection and linked to what happened on the other side of the world. So especially when it comes to laws, when it comes to institutions, it's very, very important, and all of that should have a kind of connection. So thank you very much again. Silvia, would you like, before wrapping up, would you like actually to say just something else, or you would like to share your contacts or where people can find you online or in person? You know that you live in Prato and you're running this amazing project, which is the Hub. But if they would like to contact you online, where can they find you?
They can find me on my platform www.solomodasostenibile in italiano .it.
Perfect. So thank you again, Silvia, and thank you everybody for being here. So stay tuned on Refashion For Good project. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for the invitation. Bye.